Vivid Artistic Hair Design. I am really excited about today because I have a trendy new color that I'm doing with my model Amanda. She's a new client of mine. Yeah, you're like, where do I look? You can look wherever. That's going to stay in there because I'm drinking Red Bull and who knows what's going to happen. I'm telling you now, I'm really delirious. But this is my second time doing her hair. The first time she was a new client because of Instagram. So we found, or you found me, or I might have found you, or something like that.
It's meant to be.
I know. And then when she came in, and not to sound like weird, I'm like, oh my god, you are like way too pretty for this little town, and I'm excited I get to do your hair. And now she's my color muse. And today we're gonna do like, I know, I'm really freaking excited. A Nicole Richie purple violet, whatever that color is going on that she has right now, is going to happen on her head, and I'm super stoked. And we're going to do a photo shoot, so I'm going to show you the process of how we color and a lot of cool styling techniques. I'll probably do 2 or 3, and then we'll do the shoot, and I'm really excited. So we're just going to get started. I'm going to drink Red Bull, she's going to sit there. We started with Amanda being probably a level 8 neutral, probably closer to a 9 neutral, but there's still a lot of gold in there, and she has probably 1.5 inches regrowth of her natural color. So the first time I did her hair was only once before this, and she had a probably level 7, and she hadn't gotten as blonde or as close to platinum or neutral as she would have liked. So I went back in with a heavy highlight, and I pre-lightened her to a really pretty pale champagne blonde. But for this particular look, which is a pastel Nicole Richie lavender color, we need to get rid of as much gold or brassy tone as we possibly can. So I'm going to go back in with a lightener, and I'm going to use Olaplex, of course, because it helps me maintain the integrity of her hair. But I'll go back in and pre-lighten her pretty darn light. Like I would say a 9, just about a 10. And that'll be as light as we need to do the project that we plan on doing today. I am almost finished, well, about halfway finished pre-lightening Amanda's hair. And for this, I'm using a cream lightener in 30, and I'm going closer to the base, but not all the way to the scalp because I want to leave a bit of shadow. And then later, I'll bring it towards the ends or down the ends to make sure it's good and pre-lightened and no gold is left. So the next step after this is just let it pre-lighten. I'm going to use Olaplex. I always talk about it because it's amazing and it helps protect the hair. And then we'll rinse, condition, dry, and we'll move on to the next step, which will be adding the purple. I finished pre-lightening Amanda's hair, and we got really light, probably a level 10. There's a little bit of warmth in there, but since we're using a lavender, it's going to cancel that out and be a very true to tone and not look muddy. The condition of her hair is it's actually really nice for what we had to work with to what we have now. It hasn't had a trim. This has just been a rough blow dry. We used Olaplex on the end, so I used a 30 volume lightener towards the top, left a little bit of shadow there because I want some depth. And then I used Olaplex on the ends, which slowed down the process and repaired the bonds. And you'll see when I'm finished, when I have the lavender on, just how nice and shiny it looks. So for my violet formulations, I actually have 2, and you can see them here clearly in the bowls. I'll explain later as I'm applying what exactly I mixed together to achieve these 2 tones. So with this, I'm not using a bunch of tones like I normally do for my chameleon color. I'm just using a little bit of depth at the base, so it'll tie in from her natural color down to the more pastel ends. And I'm just moving up the head using a freeform. Basically just saturate the hell out of a technique and use the deeper tone and the lighter tone of lavender. Nicole Richie's trending hair color, I noticed, it's not one flat color, but it's also not a bunch of what appears to be highlighted hair as well. So I'm going to try to duplicate the trend as much as possible. Hopefully let you guys know my take on how I think they achieved it. So 2 different custom colors that I mixed, and they have, I really just view fashion color as really knowing the color wheel, and like I'm mixing paint or like food coloring or something. I mean, it's pigment, and so you don't have to worry about the different levels of ammonia or volumes, you know, like levels of lift or volumes of developer or anything like that. So the lighter formula, I used silver as a base, and then I just mixed shades of violet, magenta, the pastel pink, and maybe even a little bit of neon's blue. and eyeballed it. And if you are unsure of the tone that it's going to be before you put it on the hair, you can just swipe a little bit on a white paper towel and see what it looks like. And it's going to be pretty true to tone, so that's what it's going to be when you put it on the hair. So for the rest of application, I just move up from the nape of her neck up towards the hairline and apply in the same manner as you saw me originally, using the 2 formulations. And this is the end result of application, and you can see the way the color looks on her blonde pre-lightened hair. After we let the Pravana Vivids process and rinse with cool water, this is our final result. She has a very dimensional, almost silvery hued lilac or lavender, very pale, but still very dimensional, and you have pops of a brighter or just a little bit more saturated lavender in with the silvery colors. Still looks healthy, shiny, and it's going to fade really well too. Answer for you guys while I'm curling her hair. As far as aftercare or at-home care, always shampoo with cold water when you are going to shampoo, which hopefully shouldn't be more than like 2 or 3 times a week, because the longer you can go, the better off you'll be. And dry shampoo in between. You use a dry shampoo, yeah?
Yes.
And then there's another product called Color Lock or Color Seal. I'm like drawing a blank, but I'll put a link in the bottom. But it's a product by Pravana, and it's specifically for the Vivids to protect it against UVA and UVB rays. So that can also help, but don't wash very frequently. Cold water. Don't go nuts with the styling, like curling iron and flat ironing, because the more dry or damaged that you get it, the less likely the color is to adhere. So we're just gonna finish up and take some more photos, and I hope you guys like. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you following and subscribing to the channel. As busy as we are, we try to get around to filming videos often, so keep following us. Hope you like the end result, and if you have any questions, please just comment below and we will get back to you. Thanks so much!